negative implications are of, like you said, like taking away a job from a disabled individual? Like, do you think there are other negative implications in the way it's portrayed when somebody without a disability plays a disabled character?
Happy Neurons. Welcome back. My name is Christine, and once again, I have Romy, all the way from the UK, with me.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on your channel.
So today we're going to talk about Motherless Brooklyn, which is a movie that features a character with Tourette syndrome. So, Romy, have you watched the movie?
Yes.
Okay. What did you think of it?
I did like the fact that it didn't seem to just focus on the Tourettes. Like, he was his obviously own character. It wasn't just a film about Tourettes, and I liked that because I do think it is really important to point out how obviously we are not just Tourettes. We are all unique individuals and stuff. So I did like that aspect. But I do know that you have a much deeper perspective than what's just viewed on the screen. So I think it's really good if you like to talk about that.
You know, as far as movies go, it was an okay movie, watchable. I watched it a few times, and I didn't just watch the movie. I watched everything regarding the movie. I watched countless Edward Norton interviews, and I have a lot to say. First of all, I think it's great that Motherless Brooklyn, you know, not a joke. That's good. If we're setting the bar at not a joke, I'm sorry, but I find that it's setting the bar pretty low.
Definitely.
Yeah. Over the last few years, there's been a lot of talk about disabled roles should go to disabled actors, et cetera, and I'm in full agreement of that. Don't get me wrong, a lot of people who have portrayed Touretters have done it really well and in not a joke way. But yeah, like if we're looking at it from the perspective of not a joke, it's not enough. So Edward Norton being out there talking about the noir hero, but using people with disabilities instead of using, you know, Sam Slade from the Maltese Falcon or Philip Marlowe, instead of using those very characters, which do bear a lot of similarities to the PI that he plays in Motherless Brooklyn, yeah, he uses the Crip. And to me, that was kind of cheap. He's using those non-noir film characters to talk about the noir underdog. Unlikely hero. People with desires and goals that are perceived as unlikely to reach them, right? So I understand in that context of Motherless Brooklyn, that character does have goals, does have things, but we're not talking about Forrest Gump or Rain Man. I'd like to point out that he specifically named two characters that won awards for the actors who portrayed them. I think if we were the actors portraying those roles, I think it would be even more realistic. It would also help us be taken more seriously. Because, you know, although Edward Norton's character is a PI, he's still an able-bodied person playing a Touretter, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And I understand, it's called acting. I get it, right? But it is more about reacting. It's about being in the present moment. It's about conveying an emotion. That's what acting is. I'm sorry, but tics are not conveying an emotion. They might be related to an emotion. They might be influenced by an emotion, but they're not driven by emotion. It's just purely physical, purely symptomatic, with a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes up here, like in a movie. I like that, you know, he was a PI. I like that he had like a real job. And yeah, to me, every time an able-bodied actor takes on a disabled role, it exploits someone's disability. And yeah, I have a problem where the actor gets paid and the consultant does not. That's a big problem. And that's a problem that perpetuates itself.
Definitely. I definitely think that's a really good point because I think that the actor needs the consultation to give an accurate portrayal. However, the consultant isn't actually, they're kind of sidelined. They're not actually given the sort of credit as the actor is, even though they are the one giving the information and stuff. So I think you have like a really good point with that.
So for me, Motherless Brooklyn, although it's a very watchable movie and there's some great performances, it's still a non-Touretter playing a Touretter, and that has to stop. Period.
I think that you've definitely got a good point there, because I think a person with Tourette's would do a more accurate portrayal, and it's giving somebody a job, like a disabled person a job, and I think that is just a really important thing. So I think you have a really good perspective on that, and I like how you've done the further research, like rather than what's just on screen, you look behind at the actors and where they are getting the information and their intentions and stuff. I think that's like a really good way to, because you're analysing it, I think that's a good way to see what the implications are of it, rather than just what's on screen.
I do feel I might be looking too far into it, but someone has to. And I mean, I can't fix the problem, I can't fix the past, but I have to look at how we got to where we are today. It's not a perfect system. It's never going to be perfect going forward, but we have to understand how we got to where we're at so that we can decide how to go forward and how Tourette syndrome and disability in general gets represented on screen. There just needs to be more of us. And if there's more of us, just being there, just being characters, just being there all the time, and not defined by our disability. Yes, it's a trait, but we're not defined by it. I think that's what is actually going to have the greatest influence out there.
Definitely. I think that is really important, showing that we are just people. The Tourette's is just something we have. It's not, it doesn't define us. So on a film or something, main focus shouldn't just be this person has Tourette's, because we are so much more than that. And when you said as well, not a joke is way too low, because that is just the baseline. It's kind of common sense. Although, some media does still portray it as a joke, but it is, I think, common sense that Tourette isn't a joke. It is a condition that can be debilitating in some cases. It impacts every aspect of our life. So I definitely think that it's setting the bar way too low to say that, and it needs to actually allow people to be informed and allow people to really see what Tourette syndrome is, because if that doesn't happen, then people with other Tourettes, we aren't taken seriously, and we may be ridiculed and not offered the support we need because the information isn't out there, and people wouldn't take it seriously. They'd just be like, oh, it's funny and stuff. But a lot of people get laughed at when the deeper impact and the other symptoms aren't even looked into.
That's true. But another problem too is the inspiration factor. It seems to me that absolutely everything that documents us is about the inspiration or the spectacular aspect. And again, that's because we're not the ones, we're not the TV producers, we're not the network producers, we're not the storytellers, we're the people whose image is used, but we have no say as to how it's used.
Definitely. I think,
actually, this could be an entire other conversation too.
Yeah, I think we could have a lot of different conversations. I think it's really good.
Okay, would you like to come back to have a conversation about, between not a joke and being inspirational? Would you like to come back and have a conversation about that?
Definitely, we could do that. I'm gonna write that down. But yeah, we could definitely do that.
I'm all over it. Okay, wonderful. So thank you, Romy.
Thank you so much. I really love talking to you and hearing your perspectives, because you do analyse things deeply, but that is a good thing because somebody needs to be doing that. So thank you so much for doing this.
That's just what my brain does. So go Tourettes. All right, bye, Romy. We'll see you next time, okay? Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.